This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
We're working to connect a region of over 600 cultural bridges between our lands.
Hello and welcome to ASEAN in Focus. Joining me today is from our EBC Vietnam Bureau. Hello, Ralph.
Xin chào, I'm Ralph Wandel-Tenpai from your EBC Vietnam Bureau to give you the latest updates in ASEAN dynamic region.
And now straight to the news. First, Malacanang said President Duterte has approved the recommendation to make advance payments to suppliers of potential vaccines for COVID-19. Malacanang also said that the President agreed to enter into advance market commitments to avoid being among the last countries to acquire vaccine. Take a look.
Ang rekomendasyon ng Pangulo matapos magpresenta ang ating vaccine SAR. Unang-una, papasok po tayo ng advance market commitments kasama ng private vaccine developers at pagbigay ng advance payment sa kanila. So medyo pumayag na po tayo na magkakaroon po tayo ng advance. Kasi pag hindi po tayo pumayag, baka makulela tayo dun sa mga bansa na makakakuha ng vaccine. So alam ko po, nung una ayaw ni Presidente yan, pero nung nakita po niya yung listahan ng mga bansang nag-a-advance payment, hindi naman tayo magpapahuli, no? Basta meron naman tayong pondo. Kung kinakailangan ibenta ang mga are-are ng gobyerno, gagawin niya yan. Pero dahil nga, importanteng masiguro na meron po tayong bakuna, pumayag na po siya nung mga tinatawag na advance payments. Pangalawa, yung iba't ibang modes of financing kasama ang private-public tripartite agreements na walang cost sa pamahalaan. So ito nga po, no? Sa ngayon, hindi po bababa sa 1 million dosage na ang kanilang commitment. Pangatlo, emergency use authorization na i-issue ng Food and Drug Administration sa pamamagitan ng isang executive order. Now, hindi pa po nalalabas si Presidente ng executive order. Pero pag linabas na po yan ng Presidente at sinabi naman ni Presidente, ilalabas niya yan, mapapabilis po yung proseso ng paggamit ng mga bakuna na meron na ring authorization sa mga FDAs ng mga bansa na kung saan na-develop ang vaccines. So ibig sabihin, dati-rati po, bago magamit ang isang bakuna rito na approved na ng US FDA o ng Chinese FDA, kinakailangan muna ng 6 na buwan ng pagsusuri. Pero kung mapipirmahan po itong executive order neto, abay, 21 araw na lang po, magagamit na rin natin sa Pilipinas. So, yung dalawang bakuna po sa China, Sinopharm at saka Sinovac, anytime, pwede na pong aprobahan ng Chinese FDA. All we need, 20 days, pwede na tayo magbakuna dito sa Pilipinas. Ganon din naman po pagdating sa Pfizer at sa Moderna na napatunayang 94% ang effectivity laban sa coronavirus.
According to Presidential Spokesperson Secretary and National Task Force Against COVID-19 Chief Implementer and Vaccine Cesar Carlito Galvez Jr., the news that developing countries like the Philippines will not be given access to vaccines right away because vaccine makers give priority to rich countries is untrue.
Yung sana po natin, marami na po tayong kinakausap na mga vaccine companies at saka maganda po yung ating relationship sa mga different countries. So nakakausap na po natin yung mga countries ng China, UK, Singapore, at also kakausapin po natin ng Australia. Yung mga companies po na talagang ni-sponsor po nila ay meron po naka-allocate na quota po sa atin. Karamihan po, pwede po ang quota nila is 15 million to up to even 50 million. Kung ang target po natin next year is 25 million ang papakunahan po natin, kaya po natin dahil kasi po yung maganda po ang diplomatic relationship natin sa China. And USA is also giving us a lot of allocations. Even yung mga companies ng US, lumapit na po sa amin. And they're more than willing talaga na magbigay ng napakalaking quota po sa amin. Yung COVAX po, 20% po kaagad ang pwede pong ibigay sa atin from pooled sabi natin financing. At saka pwede po tayo magkaroon ng self-financing na napakababa po ng kanilang mga presyo. At talaga pong very affordable and equitable for food countries like us. So wag po kayo mag-alala. At kami po, yung sa po ng ating mahal presidente na talagang magkaroon po tayo ng access sa vaccine. Ginagawa po natin lahat ng mga diplomatic at saka tinatawag nating exploratory talks with the vaccine experts.
To Thailand now, Thai Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha ordered security agencies to crack down on pro-democracy protesters. Gila Pablo joins us live. Hi there, Gila.
Hello, good afternoon, Ralph.
Good afternoon, Gila.
Yes, good afternoon. Thank you. And so the Thai Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha ordered security agencies Thursday to crack down on pro-democracy protesters. As rights groups condemned, police were using tear gas and water cannon at a Bangkok rally. The country has been rocked since July by youth-led protests demanding a new constitution, unprecedented calls to reform the untouchable monarchy, and for Prayut to resign. Clashes outside Parliament Tuesday between pro-democracy protesters and hardline royalists marked a steep rise in violence, with 6 people shot. A day later, some 20,000 people massed in Bangkok's main shopping district, and protesters daubed anti-royal graffiti outside the Thai National Police headquarters. Prayut, who seized power in 2014 coup, issued a statement Thursday warning protesters will be hit with the full force of the law. He said the government and security agencies need to intensify their practices and enforce all sections of all laws. This could mean more charges under the country's harsh royal defamation laws, which are routinely interpreted to include any criticism of the monarchy, including content posted and shared on social media. King Maha Vajiralongkorn asked the Thai government in June to suspend using the lese majesty laws, but human rights critics say there is a host of other legislation that authorities can use to target democracy activists. Back to you, Ralph.
Thank you for joining us today, Gila. Stay safe and regards to our fellow Filipinos working and living there in Thailand.
Thank you so much, Ralph, and same to you. Again, this is Gila Pablo reporting live from Bangkok, Thailand. We live in interesting times.
In Maldives, President Ibrahim Mohamed Solih on Thursday inaugurated the first airport developed by the current administration. Joining us live today from Maldives is Steffi Dewan. Hi there, Steffi.
Hello, Rob. Good afternoon to you and to all the televiewers around the world. So here's the latest updates from the island country of Maldives. On Thursday, President Ibrahim Mohamed Solih inaugurated the first airport developed by the current administration at the northernmost Ha-Alif Atoll. The president traveled to Hurapushi for the inauguration this afternoon. It's his first visit outside the capital since the COVID-19 outbreak. Solih described the airport unveiling as the end of a long wait for the people of Hurapushi as well as the entire atoll. He added that the opening of Hurapushi Atoll is an important step towards fulfilling the state's promise to decentralize the country. According to him, this is the beginning of development in states in Ihabandu Kolhu Ha-Alif Atoll. This is a means to bring the development hope for the people of the 6 islands in Turakunnu, Uligan, Mulhadu, Ihabandu, Takandu, and Murandu. In his speech, he extended gratitude towards Maldives Transport and Contracting Company, or MTCC, for completing the airport development projects in a short period of time despite of the ongoing pandemic. Hurapushi Airport is expected to ease travel for residents on the region, as traveling to the next closest airport in Hadalu Atoll's Hanimadu requires an hour-long journey across the often choppy waters of Galandu-Kandu. Minister of Transport and Civil Aviation Aishat Nahula confirmed that scheduled flights operations will begin within a week of the airport's inauguration. According to Hurafushi Island Council, the airport will also provide a boost for tourism in the region and open up doors for job opportunities and further development projects. The completed airport features a runway of 1,200 meters as well as an apron of 8,635 square meters, including a taxiway. The airport is also equipped with a parking area of 9,473 square feet, a fire access road of 1,718 square feet, and an airport security and bench of 720 meters. In order to develop the airport, 842,000 cubic meters of land were reclaimed from the Hurapulshi Lagoon in 2019. And that's the quick update from Maldives. Back to you, Rob.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time and for your updates, Steffi. Please keep them coming. Stay safe and stay healthy.
Thank you so much, Rob. Reporting live from Maldives. This is Steffi Huwan, and we live in interesting times.
In other news, the European Union and the governments of Sweden, Australia, US, Germany, and New Zealand allocated 182 million pesos in humanitarian aid following the appeal issued by the UN Philippines to support Manila's typhoon response. The humanitarian assistance will help some 260,000 Filipinos who were severely affected by recent typhoons, particularly the Typhoon Rolly that battered the Bicol region when it made landfall on November 1. The Humanitarian Aid Department of the European Commission earmarked 74.5 million pesos, while the Australian government provided 33 million pesos through the World Food Program, UN Population Fund, and the Family Planning Organization of the Philippines. Malacanang disagreed with Vice President Leni Robredo's remark that President Duterte's threat that things would not be easy if she seeks the presidency in 2022 is unpresidential. Take a look.
Masama. Alam niyo, hindi naman po plastic si Presidente at hindi naman niya ngayon lang ginawa yan. Consistent po ang behavior ng Presidente. Is that unpresidential? I don't think so, because 91% of the people have said that they trust and they believe that the President is performing well in his duties. Is it unpresidential? According to 91% of our people, no. According to 5%, including the Vice President, yes. I have to read kung anong sinabi ng spokesperson ni VP Leni. Kaya naman pala talaga naghimutok si Presidente. Ang sabi po ni Barry Gutierrez, no? Leaders should be seen and felt in times of crisis in an apparent comment on the government's response to Typhoon Ulysses. Kaya nga po, sabi ng Presidente, sinungaling ka kasi sinabi mo wala ako, nandun ako sa ASEAN. Ginawa pala ito ni Attorney Barry Gutierrez, sinabi niya ito doon sa lingguhang radio show ng Vice President. No? Sabi nga ka Eli, kung talagang gusto may paraan, pero kung ay ayaw gawin, maraming dahilan. Kung tatanungin mo yung security, sasabihin niya, kung maaari, wag na. Nandun na mismong principal kung tutuloy siya o hindi. So ito yung sinasabi niya na talagang hindi lumalabas daw itong ating Presidente. No? Ito pa yung sabi ni Barry Gutierrez, alahanin natin na hindi lang naman physical na tulong ang kailangan. Importante sa tingin ko ay pakiramdam na hindi ka nalilimutan ng inyong mismong pamalaan. Meron kang gobyerno na patuloy na nagbabantay at suportahan. So kung totoo, Vice President, na hindi mo sinabi nasa ng Pangulo, yung spokesperson mo din. Scold your spokesperson, do not demand an apology from the President. Yun po yung trabaho namin mga spokes. Well, ito po kasi yung sinasabi ko, my advice to VP Leni, tigil muna ang politika sa panahon ng pandemya, sa panahon ng mga sunod-sunod na aberya gaya ng mga bagyo. Si Presidente po, yan ang paninindigan. Kung hindi naman lumabas yung mga issue na ganyan, na nasaan si Presidente, wala namang po sinasabing masama ang Presidente kay VP Leni. Meron ba ho? Wala. In fact, nung isang opisyales, nagpapalakas kay Presidente, gustong imbestigahan si VP Leni, nung namimigay siya ng assistance sa COVID, ang ginawa ni Presidente, sinibak yung opisyal na yon. Dahil ayaw niyang kahit sino ay hadlangan yung pagbibigay ng tulong ng kahit sino, including Vice President. So the President's track record in attempting to have a harmonious working relationship with the Vice President is there. Pero ang ginaganti po ni Vice President, walang tigil na pula. What can we do?
Trapped under a mountain of crippling debts, Cambodian farmer Royan Rat fears she will have to sell her land to repay microfinance loans that have ballooned due to pandemic-spurred job losses in her family. She is among 2.6 million Cambodians who have turned to microfinance because of limited access to traditional banking. But in poor countries with little regulatory oversight, the practice has come under fire for predatory tactics, including targeting rural villages where residents have limited financial acumen.
In other news, President Trump will take part on Friday in the virtual Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Forum, or APEC, according to a senior U.S. official, as the president continues to reject the results of this month's election. Now, the APEC Forum, hosted this year by Malaysia but held online because of the COVID-19 pandemic, brings together 21 Pacific Rim countries, accounting for about 60% of global GDP. Beijing has become the main driving force behind the organization after the U.S. began withdrawing from multilateral bodies during Trump's presidency.
"15 Asia-Pacific countries on Sunday signed the world's biggest free trade deal, seen as a huge coup for China in extending its influence. The Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or RCEP, includes 10 Southeast Asian economies, along with China, Japan, South Korea, New Zealand, and Australia, with members accounting for around 30% of global GDP.
Khuôn khổ hợp tác mới của Hiệp định RCEP sẽ góp phần đẩy mạnh tiến trình xây dựng cộng đồng kinh tế ASEAN 2025. Từ đó, ASEAN sẽ trở thành đối tác năng động, mạnh mẽ, hợp tác vì sự thịnh vượng. Tôi tin tưởng rằng Hiệp định RCEP sẽ sớm được các nước phê chuẩn và đưa vào thực thi trong thời gian tới, góp phần hỗ trợ quá trình phục hồi kinh tế sau đại dịch Covid-19 và đem lại thịnh vượng chung cho người dân, cho doanh nghiệp của tất cả các nước thành viên. Xin
Vietnam to
Launched in 2012, RCEP is a trade pact between the 10-member ASEAN bloc, along with China, Japan, South Korea, Australia, and New Zealand. India had been due to sign but pulled out last year. The deal includes 2.1 billion people, with RCEP's members accounting for around 30% of global GDP. Its aim is to lower tariffs, open up trade in services, and promote investment to help emerging economies catch up with the rest of the world. Specifically, RCEP is expected to help reduce costs and time for companies by allowing them to export a product anywhere within the bloc without meeting separate requirements for each country. It also touches on intellectual property, but will not cover environmental protections and labor rights. It mainly matters because it sets new trade rules for the region and has China's backing but does not include the United States. Observers say it solidifies China's broader geopolitical ambitions in the region, where it has faced little competition from the US since President Donald Trump pulled out of a trade pact of its own. That deal, called the Trans-Pacific Partnership, or TPP, was on track to be the world's biggest trade pact until Washington pulled the plug, saying it funneled of US jobs. However, observers say the RCEP is not as extensive as the TPP, or the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, or CPTPP, as its successor is known.
In a related news, world leaders along with UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres and World Bank President David Malpass attended the online East Asia Summit meeting, one of several forums at the ASEAN Online Summit chaired by Vietnam, to discuss the several issues including post-COVID-19 recovery plans. Take a look.
In East Asia alone, as many as 39 million people could revert to extreme poverty. The global community needs to tackle this challenge with compassion and solidarity to recover stronger and stay on track to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Commend the recent decisions of China, Japan, and the Republic of Korea committing to net zero emissions. To reach carbon neutrality by 2050, I'm calling for all countries to stop building new coal power plants and for partners to stop financing them. Countries also need to put a price on carbon and then subsidies for fossil fuels. Our response to the COVID-19 crisis must be aligned with the Paris Agreement and the Sustainable Development Goals.
In the current crisis, East Asia was the first to enter crisis and is well positioned to be the first region to recover from it. Countries will need to prepare for a different economy post-COVID by allowing capital, labor, skills, and innovation to move into new businesses and sectors.
World Bank President David Malpass said the disruption of trade and global value chains presents both a challenge and an opportunity. Swedish home furnishing retailer IKEA is opening 496 jobs for its first store in the Philippines in Pasay City that will be its largest in the world. Take a look. Among the job vacancies in IKEA Pasay City are sales associates, recovery associates, food assistants, and customer service associates, among others. The store, which will open in the second quarter of 2021, will have a call center operation and warehouse to support its e-commerce business. The IKEA online store will commence earlier. IKEA Philippines Market Development Manager and Store Manager George Platzer.
Trapping heat to reduce energy consumption from heating and air conditioning. Researchers at Nanyang Technological University poured a mixture of microhydrogel, water, and a stabilizer between two glass panels. The hydrogel causes the mixture to turn opaque when it heats up and become transparent again once it cools, allowing it to automatically block sunlight in the summer and let in sunlight in the winter. The water's high heat capacity allows the window to store heat during the day and gradually release it at night. The result is a window that is up to 45% more energy efficient than traditional glass windows and 30% more energy efficient than commercially available energy-saving windows, researchers say. The window also reduces noise 15% more effectively than double-glazed windows. According to the United Nations, buildings construction and operations accounted for nearly 40% of energy-related carbon dioxide emissions in 2017.
So why was that? Thank you very much, Ralph, for joining me today and helping me out here on ASEAN in Focus. Thank you. How are you doing?
It has been a pleasure, Alma. I'm doing well. Thank you very much. Alma, before we conclude the program, I'd like to take this opportunity to greet all educators in Vietnam, Vietnamese and foreigners, including us Filipino teachers, a happy Teachers' Day.
Indeed.
Teachers' Day in Vietnam falls on November 20, Alma. And that's
happy
the latest
Teachers'
news.
Day.
Thank you, Alma. Thank you. And that's the latest news in the ASEAN region. Thank you for watching. I'm Ralph Wandop Empire. We live in interesting times.
Thank you very much, Ralph. And again, happy Teachers' Day. And I'm Alma Angeles, and we live in interesting times.